Morning, good afternoon, good night. It's great to see familiar faces and some new faces. Some background noise. If it's possible, just to either have to mute, it'll help my concentration. Thank you. Nice to see again, everybody. My name's Schneider. I have a speech language pathology stuttering specialty practice at Schneider Speech, where we work with people doing private speech therapy, and also lead Transcending Stuttering. And the vision and the dream is really to make it easier for people to transcend stuttering and to bring people together all around the world, all year long, with a free community and podcasts and master classes and workshops on a monthly basis. So this is like a StutterFest, and conferences are like amazing opportunities to get together. And then I think it's also special over the year to kind of have touch points, because what do you do between StutterFest 2023 and StutterFest 2024? So you have local community you can tap into, you have all sorts of other communities and places, and the vision for Transcending Stuttering is just to be a healthy hub for anyone who's interested, and to provide a platform for growth and for us to find each other so that these conversations can continue. And the presentation is just the start. But getting to know these people is really special. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Gia. And thank you to the whole World Stuttering Network. It's a big treat. If you're here, you've probably been here for a bit, so I'm going to get right to the point. And I don't know how much is new, but I'm going to try to put a new spin on some things. And as was scheduled, I'll try to keep my comments to about 35 minutes. So we'll go now till about half past the hour. Does that make sense, Gia? Okay, so I put a link for anyone who wants into the chat. That is a Google Doc. I may pull it up on the screen and show it as well, but mostly I'll be talking, and maybe we'll go into that document and do a little bit of interactive work together. And I see some friends here who might be able to be helpful. I had two thoughts to share today. And the first is a little secret, and I don't know if anyone else here in the entire day told you this, but there's really only one person from this whole StutterFest who can really help you. And it's not me, it's you. And it's about getting out there and listening and learning and showing up and trying things that feel like they might be helpful to you. Not because someone else said so, but because you feel like, yeah, I want that. I think I want to give it a try. And for some people, it might be something really, really small. Something as small as, I don't know, I haven't spoken to someone that I really care about for a really long time. I think I'm going to write them a letter. It doesn't even have to be to get on the phone or to talk in person, but there are ways that stuttering has a way of impacting our life so far beyond our lips. And again, full disclosure, I do not stutter. I'm just dedicated and listen and pay attention and try to be a champion. But I think it's safe to say that stuttering has a way of touching our lives beyond our lips. And that means that the changes we can make and the steps we can take don't have to be just with our lips. They can be in other ways. So the first thing I wanted to say is that the one person who's the most important person here is you. And hopefully today has provided you an opportunity to hear some new ideas and some new stories and some new examples that people have done. And hopefully there's one thing you take away from all of this, which opens up a little bit of hope and a little bit of possibility. And maybe you take one small action, or maybe one really big action, but whatever it is, that's number one. And I think the second thing is what I've seen with Transcending Stuttering through all these podcasts and through the community, and people who are in the community can attest to this. There's something incredibly powerful about finding that person who also wants to be a champion for you. And so throughout today, you've heard so many people share their stories, their research, their work. In talking to people who stutter and listening to their stories, one of the things I find that's a common theme is there was someone who opened the door for them. There was someone who put a hand out to them to welcome them into a meeting, or to give them a word of encouragement, or to take the time to dialogue and email. And it wasn't just in a public space throwing comments in public forums, but there's somebody that is ready to be a mentor, ready to be a friend, ready to be a confidant. And I think we should look for those people, because the world is filled with people who are jerks. We've all met some of those. Everybody here has met a jerk in their life? Anyone? Nobody has any jerks, just me? I think there are some jerks out there. Stupid comments, stupid looks, bullying, hurtful things. But there are also so many good people. Look for the good people and connect to them, and don't miss the opportunity to do that. So with that, I'll go to share my screen and show you this document that I shared, and I'll reshare the link for anybody that wants it. And then you'll be able to, you can make a copy of it, but most importantly, it'd be kind of fun if we can work together in it. And I'll invite some of the people that I know are here. I won't say people by name so I don't exclude anybody, but it would be incredibly helpful to me if you want to jump in and assist on this. But I'll just walk you through some resources. And again, this is something you can look at later. And in this document, I've also included links to things you can look at and take advantage of even after today. So I see some people are here. At least 2 people are in this document. I assume everybody can see the document. Let me just do one thing to clean up over here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we have here is resources at the top. This is the Transcending Stuttering community you can join. Here's the website, nice and simple. We've organized all of the podcast episodes, documentary films, the community. You can click here to access all those links. And here are some exercises, a sample of exercises. This is maybe 20% of what we have, but I'm sharing it with you openly here so that we can explore and learn together for today's talk. And again, you can copy this and use this for yourself. I have a little bit of an allergy and self-advocacy. Okay, so there's a 4-part framework that we have at Transcending Stuttering. And listening to the last talk, I really liked what was shared as well. And I think there's so many ways to look at stuttering. But one of the things that makes stuttering unique is that there's never been a time in history with so much research and so much new discovery. And at the same time, for most people who stutter, it's still such an enigma, such a mystery. It's like in the Batman series, the Riddler, you know, it's like the thing that's always just beyond understanding it, just beyond, I get it, I got it, I can crack this. So I do believe that leads to a lot of frustration, very understandable frustration. Whoops. And it also leads to a lot of people going out there and telling other people, just do it like this. And they help some people, and then other people try it and it doesn't help them. For the people that it helps, it's great. For the people that it doesn't help, it feels like, oh, maybe I'm the one that's wrong. And I just want to say, you're not the one that's wrong. That wasn't the right way for you. You need to find your way. And then there'll be another program out there and it helps another group of people. And maybe that's going to be for you, but it's not going to be for them. Everybody has to find their way. So my hope here, right, what I'm going to show you is how you can find your way. I don't have one way. What I'm trying to put out is kind of like a map, Waze, GPS, so you can navigate. And once you know how to navigate, then you can start to find the tools, the people, and things that are going to be supportive to you because you know what you need. Some people need a certain type of diet. Other people need a different type of diet. Not all humans eat the same food. We can live in the same city, but we need different things to feel good, to feel healthy. So take a look here. Self-knowledge is about, and these illustrations, I just want to give credit to Danielle Rossi of Stuttering is Cool. He did these illustrations for me. For those that have heard this, there's going to be a little bit of something new, but it's good review as well. And for those that haven't, I'm going to go slowly, but you'll see that this is designed to be practical, designed to be very understandable. It's a way of organizing your experience of stuttering. And then I'll show you how it also organizes all of the research and all of the tools and all of the things that can be out in the internet and in the world of stuttering that can be useful to you. So self-knowledge, just give a quick overview of these 4 things. Self-knowledge is how you make sense of stuttering. It's how you make sense of yourself. It's recognizing what is, what you want, and then making a plan to achieve success. It's about what you know. Self-adjustment is exploring and experimenting with practical tools to communicate with more ease and confidence. Based on the hour that I'm speaking now, there are people here from different parts of the world. So speech therapy and stuttering therapy looks different in different places, but a lot of speech therapy and stuttering therapy focuses on how you talk. And if you would talk like this, maybe it'll come out easier. So in self-adjustment, that's sort of what we're thinking about, that whole category of things of how you can either tighten up or loosen up or make changes so that your bicycle, so to speak, your voice speech motor mechanism works more easily, and that you can have more confidence in the way that you open your mouth and expect that it's going to cooperate or kind of know how it's going to go. The third part is self-acceptance. And that has to do with being whole with yourself and knowing that you're perfectly imperfect. And I caught the tail end of the previous speaker. It was beautiful listening to her. It's easier said than done, isn't it? But at the end of the day, when you have a StutterFest with people from around the world and you see all these beautiful faces, different color skin, different shaped eyes, each person has a unique face, and each person on the planet also has a unique voice. I don't just mean stuttering. It's also a unique voice in the sense that you could open a cell phone with your voice. Your voice is like a fingerprint. So each of us is unique, and the fact that we have a little bit more of a deeper voice, a little bit more of a higher voice, a little bit more of a fluent, flowing rhythm, or a little bit more staccato with a little bit more interruption. This idea of verbal diversity is a thing. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it also means there's nothing inherently wrong. When a baby is born with Down syndrome, or a baby is born with some other kind of anomaly, I have a niece, half her face has a dark red color, a port wine stain because of a syndrome. It doesn't mean she's any less precious. It's certainly challenging for her with the comments she gets, and it's challenging for her parents, hearing from other people, but she's just as worthy. And so each of you and each person who stutters is just as worthy as anyone else. And at least being able to see that in yourself and work on that in yourself. And then the fourth thing is self-advocacy. Once you work on something in yourself, how do you share that with people in your life? Not everybody is ready to hear it. Not everybody is capable of hearing it, but there are many people that are waiting to hear it. They're waiting to see, have you started to see yourself as worthy? And when you start seeing yourself as worthy, and you start letting them know, you know what? I'd like to take a turn today in the service at the church. Or you know what? Today at the office, don't pass over me. I want to contribute my thoughts. Just allow me a little bit more time. I don't want anyone to jump in on the tail end. I'll let you know when my turn is done. These are bold things to do that are letting people around you know, hey, I have something to say. I'm ready to give myself a chance, and I'm asking you to give me a chance too. So self-acceptance is how I do it on the inside. Self-advocacy is how I do it on the outside. So let me offer everybody here an opportunity on the side of Zoom in the comments. I would love it for as many people as possible. And no one is going to record this or take this away. But if you would, put in the comments we're going to rank each of these things. So let's say self-knowledge. How much do you know about stuttering? How much do you know about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses? What's gotten you as far as you are today? And what are some of the things that hold you back? How smart are you about yourself? So let's say a 10 was you know everything you need to know about stuttering. You know everything you need to know about yourself. 5 would be somewhere in the middle. And a 1 would be, I feel really, I have a lot to learn. I don't feel like I really understand stuttering at all, and I don't think I really understand myself. So I see one person put in a number. So 1 to 10, just put in a number. What you would rank yourself for self-knowledge. Thought I was hitting mute. I think I hit stop share. Yeah. You could put up your hands if that's easier. I see some comments coming in. Great. So like a 7, 8. I meet some people who are 40 years old, well on in having a family, well on in having a job, and they actually know a lot about a lot of things in the world, but they don't know very much about stuttering. And they give themselves like a 3. If that's the case, then they deserve the opportunity to learn more about stuttering, more about themselves, and that's going to be so crucial. Let's go to the next one, self-adjustment. So I'd love it if some more people can, in the chat in Zoom, just jot down a number. What would you rank yourself in terms of self-adjustment? And by that, I mean, how much do you know? What are the things that you can do to make the words come out easier, to feel more flow and more confidence that you know how your lips and speech is going to cooperate, versus how much a 10 would be, I feel completely able and completely knowledgeable about that. And a 1 would be, it feels like every time I open my mouth, I never know what's going to happen, and I have no idea what I can do or what I do that makes it more or makes it less. So a 10 would be, I feel a lot of knowledge and control, and a 1 would be a lot of no control. You know, totally surprised every time. Great. Anyone else want to chime in on the Zoom? It's just a number 1 to 10. I really appreciate the people that have contributed so far. Thanks. And now we'll go to self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is how 1 to 10, 10 being the most, 1 being the least. For self-acceptance, how much do I accept myself? How much do I love myself? How much am I able to tolerate stuttering and make room for stuttering and look in the mirror and love myself for all the things that make me who I am? And I stutter, and that doesn't take away. Maybe it adds, maybe it's neutral, maybe it is challenging, but I'm able to accept and wake up and face the day with a stutter. A 10 would be some of the superstars. I think in Daniel Rossi's book, he talks about those people who kind of get out there and just do crazy things stuttering. They're like, superheroes in some ways. And then there are those of us that the thought of stuttering really puts us down. It feels like it makes life and every day impossible. I really appreciate one person's comment here. I appreciate everyone's comments, but I think so far 2 people have commented with some variability. There are days like this and there are days like this. And I think it's helpful to think about that. So if you can appreciate this point, this is like an advanced thought, but start looking at where are you in this week of your life, in this week of your life journey, stuttering journey, where are you swinging between? And it could be you're swinging between a 10 and a 3, but it could be that a few weeks ago, a few months ago, a few years ago, you were swinging between a 1 and a 3. So even if there's a swing today, it could be that the swing or the highs and lows are not the same highs and lows they were then. You never had a 10 before. And today, now you have some days that are 10. And that's pretty cool, So that's a thought. And then coming back to self-advocacy, how well are you able to let people in your life know what's up? And again, it's not a total everything everywhere all the time, but self-advocacy, is it an option for you? A 10 would be that you feel able to let people know at work, at home, in the community. One would be, I never talk about it. I don't even know what I would say. So just pop in your number on that. And I hope for some of our friends outside the US, if anything I'm saying could be clearer, or you have any questions, please ask me to say it again or to say it clearer, or if someone wants to help translate. But I'm trying my best, and I would love to do as best I can for everybody. Okay, so that's the 4-part framework. Now, love the comment here from Karen. People can't shut me up lately. That is so lovely to hear. That is so lovely. Something happens when you talk. You know, it's like if you have a beautiful car in your garage, but you never drive it. It could be a really nice car, but the likelihood is if you don't drive it for some period of time, between the battery and the rest of the car, it doesn't go. It doesn't ride as well. And so there's something good about just doing, you know. So when I think when you talk a lot and you can't shut you up, that's a good step forward. That probably greases something inside of you. It might not be the stuttering necessarily, but it opens something up and it makes something possible. So keep talking. Now this, I would say, is a very quick way to do a self-assessment, a self-check for ourselves. And if we're going to be guiding someone else, it's a way to think about someone else. So if we're a therapist, or if we run a support group, or if we really want to get good at figuring out what helps this person and what helps this person, these 4-part framework and these simple 1 to 10, they create a profile. It's kind of like the dashboard on a car. And so if I know that someone has not a lot of self-knowledge, they have a so-so with self-adjustment, like a 5. Self-acceptance, they feel really, really uncomfortable, intolerable with the stutter. And with self-advocacy, obviously, it's pretty low. Like, why would they talk about it? Well, then I know for that person, education and opportunities to learn about stuttering, what it is and what it's not, and learning about ways to take care of themselves and to feel more okay with themselves, comfortable in their skin. That's going to be really important in the therapy, in the intervention, or in the support group. On the other hand, if someone's profile looks different, if someone's profile is, I know a lot about stuttering, I actually am extremely confident and comfortable, it takes so much effort and so much extra time. I just want to find some ways to have I don't mind stuttering. I just would like to have a little bit of a different way of stuttering, a little bit more finesse, a little bit more ease. So if that's the profile of the person, they have a good level of self-knowledge, good level of self-acceptance, a good level of self-acceptance, good dose of self-advocacy, but self-adjustment, they don't have any idea how, and they want to just make it easier for themselves, then the therapy there is going to look different, right? Okay. So this is the side for understanding. And then the other side would be, I'll just give you a quick look at the latest version of the toolbox. So if we go here, if you look at the shared screen coming up, this is the Transcending toolbox. So where we've tried to collect resources from around the internet, around the world. And you can see here that if you go to the self-guided DIY tools, you'll be able to pick an age. So let's say we're adults. And then you'll be able to look at things that could support self-acceptance, things that could support self-adjustment, things that could support self-advocacy, things that could support self-knowledge. These are the same 4-part framework we talked about before. So I think giving people the opportunity, and this is what I mean about making transcending stuttering, making it easier for people to transcend stuttering. This is an open source library of resources, both for people who stutter for themselves, and then also for professionals who want to be able to support and help. And we have all these sections of different types of resources, from books to videos to podcasts to research, and themes like family, inclusion and disability, neuroscience and genetics. And if you click on any of these things, you'll be able to find resources that are both from the world of speech therapy and stuttering therapy, but also beyond. So you'll find things, these are podcasts, here's an app, work on mindfulness, here's a clip from the film of the King's Speech with a couple specific suggestions of how you could reflect on it as you watch the clip. And so this is the toolbox, and it's kind of like the other half of the 4-part framework assessment. Now you know your profile, so you can go and you can find the resources and tools that might be most helpful. I'm going to stop that share. And if we go back to that document that some of you may have open, let's do, you know what we'll do? We'll do one exercise together, okay? We'll do this one. What does your stutter look like? What does your stutter feel like? What does your stutter sound like? It's on page 6 of the document. I'm doing screen share here for you. There we go. So if you can see that, or you can open the doc for yourself, basically, like I said, stuttering for so many people is a black box. It's an enigma. So I think when we start to look at it and break it down, we can actually start to deal with it and feel with it differently. So this is an exercise called the anatomy of your stutter. It's a little bit based on the iceberg, but it goes a little bit further in terms of asking you to think about, you can put in the comments, what does your stutter look like? What does your stutter feel like? What does your stutter sound like? If you go down to page 7, I've got some examples here. And you could even type into the document if you want. But some examples would be, well, what does it look like? I blink my eyes. Some people blink their eyes. Some people feel they look frozen. Some people, their mouth is wide open. Different people do different things. But what does it look like? Then you can think about, well, what does it feel like? It could be a physical feeling in your chest, or in your neck, or in your head. It could be an emotional feeling like stress or tightness, or feeling hot. Then what does it sound like? Repetitions, stretched out sounds, silent blocks. So if you drop a comment or in the document, just put in, you can either put the word it looks like, or it feels like, or it sounds like. If you can drop in a comment, that would be great. And this gives everybody a chance, no matter who they are, to begin to look at the anatomy of the stutter and to see what does their stutter look like, feel like, sound like. Now, for each of us, and I appreciate the contributions in the comments, for each of us, it could be different. And also, it's not just one thing, right? So if we had the time, you could sit on this and ask yourself, what else? And you could come up with several things. For some people, there's a lot in one of these columns and less in the other. But for everybody, there's probably a piece of it of what it looks like. There's a piece of it of what it feels like. There's a piece of it of what it sounds like. And again, what we do about it, how we relate to it, should be aligned with these pieces. So if I just share my screen and go to the next page, the next exercise is a really powerful one. So this is on page 8 of the document. And after this, I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'm actually going to switch computers and take any questions. This is, if you take the previous exercise and you ask yourself, well, what parts of what I listed are actually my stutter, and what parts would be like a reaction to my stuttering? So if I take like Gia's example, if Gia's okay with that, I think she is. I'm going to take a chance. Is that okay, Gia?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So Gia, actually, if you stay on, that'd be best, because then I won't make any assumptions. With breaking eye contact, would you say that's the stutter itself, or that's a response, a reaction, or adaptation to the stutter?
Now you ask me this question, I would say it's a reaction to that, to the sense of stuttering.
Yeah. So that one would go on the right side. It's not the stutter itself. If you look up stuttering in the dictionary, it wouldn't say a condition in which people have a tendency to break eye contact. But a lot of people who stutter, that's a very natural reaction or adaptation. And then if we took the second thing, Gia, like feeling tense, and I don't know if you mentioned like physical tension or like mental tension. But
I
where
would say, yeah, it's more physical.
Great. So would you say that's the stutter itself, or that's the adaptation reaction?
I feel that probably both, but it's more towards the stuttering itself than the reaction.
And you might even break down and get more specific, like what's the tension that you would attribute to the stutter, and then what might be some of the tension that's like the reactive part or the adaptive part. And sounding like interruptions of speech, would that be the stutter, or that would be like the reaction or response?
I would say the interruption of the speech, it's more, I think it, at least initially, it's my behavior, the stutter itself. But like when I'm aware of my interruption of speech, maybe I was trying to suppress my stuttering, and then that actually maybe cause more interruption of my speech. So
absolutely. So it gets interesting. And again, I think that when a person has a chance to look at it and to kind of frame it, not because someone else tells them it's so, but because it's yourself kind of looking at yourself, it's a very powerful exercise. So I've been told. So I invite you to take this and take this further. And I see people are resonating with what you said there, Gia. So that's awesome. I have to switch computers, and I'm going to stay now for questions or comments, or but I'm going to turn off this screen share. What I wanted to share with you was that the most important person today is you. That's number one. Today is a day, and every day is a day, for you to think about what's good for you. And today and tomorrow doesn't just have to be the same as it was yesterday and a month ago. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big to make it important. You can take a small step. Like I said, it could be a relationship that you've been shying away from, or a conversation, or even something as simple as just taking a walk out of the house. And it doesn't have to be something you do with your lips. So if we come back to this last exercise, I want to thank Gia for being courageous and being a partner in sharing that exercise. What's beautiful is when you think about what's on the left side and what's on the right side. I was working with a boy, Sammy, last week. He's 15. And Sammy said, you know, that was interesting. I said, what was interesting? He says, because like the stuff on the right side, all the ways that I react to it and respond to it, like that's most of the stuff that bothers me. Like if that wasn't there, it really wouldn't be so bad. Those were his words. So I think what I hope that exercise may have shown you is that potentially stuttering is what it is. Stuttering certainly can be a very big deal for people. And at the same time, stuttering is what it is. And there is a way to get on with living your best life, whether you stutter or not. And there are more people out there that are ready to hear it than you might think. There are jerks, but there are more people that are waiting for you to decide, you know what? I'm not going to keep going at this the way I was last year, last month, last week. So thinking about what are those some micro steps that could be meaningful for you, not the same as what it would be for someone else. And maybe if the 4-part framework provides you with a way to crack open, a way to understand where you are in a stronger position and where you have more to learn and to gain, it might point you in the right direction of what kind of resources, what kind of people, and what kind of places you want to put yourself to get what you need to become the best version of yourself that you know you can be. And so those specific exercises and transcending stuttering, that's what it's there for. And I hope that it's helpful. The website is transcendingx.com. There's the podcast, there's the community, there's lots more resources, videos, documentaries. And in the top of that document, I included a link which takes you to a Notion page with all the resources. So I'll stick around for a few minutes if there are any questions, or happily pass the mic to another fantastic speaker.
Yuri, what's the purpose of the community?
I think none of us can do it alone. I think I wake up some days and I feel stronger. Some days I wake up and I feel shakier. And some days I just can't wake up. I don't think I'm the only person like that. And I think that we can talk about normalizing and destigmatizing, but sometimes it's hard to hear it. Sometimes it's hard to live it. So I'm not putting down talking about it, but we need to go beyond just talking about it. We need to make it practical. We need to make it sustainable. And so the purpose of the community is that it's not to talk about ideas. It's about living ideas and sharing actionable ways to make it real in ways that allow for different people to do things differently and to not do other things differently. So it's a community to have mutual respect, encouragement, support, and also a place to kvetch, which is a beautiful Jewish word for sometimes just talking about how tough it is. And at other times finding encouragement and identity and a tribe. People like Tom Scharstein and so many people here, including yourself, are in the community and provide response. So when a teenager asks me, when did you start stuttering? Or am I the only one that started stuttering when I was 9 and I have such and such a story? And I'm like, don't ask me, ask the community. And he can get real answers from people. Or when someone says to me, I want to be a sports writer, but I can't be a sports writer. I can't be a journalist if I stutter. Well, wait a second. Let me introduce you to Ryan Cowley. Let me introduce you to John Hendrickson. So the community becomes this collective Rolodex. If anyone knows what that is, you have to be a little older, but a Rolodex of people who are just supportive and encouraging and get it. They get it, from the inside.
List of contacts now.
It's a shared, pooled list of contacts, right? And having mentors and peers is very powerful, and it's 24/7. So wherever you are, you can put up a comment or direct message, and you have people there. Yeah.
What a great question, Patricia. I think personally, what breaks my heart of being a person who stutter is that I feel like when you think you were the only one, especially when we were younger, and you feel that you were not accepted as a person who stutters, and then you just don't feel safe being yourself. And to me, personally, it's like I just built a wall between myself and outside of myself, and I feel that that's actually bothers me more when I'm a grown-up person. It's like, oh my God, I couldn't have connections with people because I don't feel safe being a person who stutters. So that's why I feel like this stuttering community, it's almost like the family that I never had and accepts me as who I am, and not punish me for being a person who stutters. So yeah.
I think that was a much better answer.
You know what?
That was beautiful.
Feeling safe is such a big deal. We all need to feel safe.
Absolutely. I'm certainly grateful for each and every one of you for coming and for listening, and inviting me into this space. I think this is a very special space. And thank Gia, the World Stuttering Network again. Really, really special and really, really new. And to see the growth and the reach and people from around the world and bringing these conversations together and being a platform to connect people, I can't say enough. I think it's tremendous. And whatever part we play together is a beautiful thing.
And also, I know I've been speaking way too much tonight, but I just want to tell Ari, since you are here, I actually first heard Schneider when I was actually in China. I was listening to Stutter Talk. My favorite episodes were done by your dad, and his episodes are those ones that made me cry the most. And I really want to let you know that how much I appreciate the Schneiders. You guys, I feel like even though I'm a Chinese person, I grew up in a different country, different culture, but what your speech clinic, I definitely feel that I feel that unconditional love almost. It's like I feel like you and your dad understand the human struggle. So I just want to use the opportunity to express how thankful I am for the work both Dr. Schneider and you have been doing. So thank you.
Thank you. It means a lot. I'll pass it on to my father. And I think all of us, yesterday was the coronation, or Saturday was the coronation of the king. I'll leave with this. He kept saying, I accept, or I agree not to be served, but to serve. And I think if all of us kind of live with that thought that we're here to give and to help someone out to the right of us, to the left of us, whether it's next to us or 3,000, 6,000 miles away, it's wild, Gia, that my dad had a conversation with Peter Reitzes, and a wonderful person in China heard that and felt like moved to tears. That is just beyond. And so imagine what all of us are capable of for the people in our little worlds and beyond. So I just encourage everybody to get out there and do what you can to show up and serve.